Hi everyone, Anna here, and I hope you're doing well. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on 1bitHeart today, but before I get started, welcome to my channel. For those that don't know, this is my first ever review on YouTube, as well as a short series I recorded of the game. If you have any questions or even suggestions for me, please leave them in the comments down below. If you did enjoy my videos, don't forget to leave that like or follow. Thanks, guys. One Bit Heart is an indie visual novel adventure that you can find on Steam. The story takes place in a world where it is run by a program called the Master Program, and everyone wears and uses bit phones. We, as the player, play a character by the name of Nanashi. He decides to be a shut in and not interact with people, with the exception of Mikado, whom he calls Big Brother. That is until he encounters a mysterious girl, Misane. Since I don't want to spoil too much, she eventually convinces him to go out into the world and make friends. As Nanashi begins his new journey, making friends around town with the help of Misane, they both come across mysteries to solve along the way. Okay, so as you may not know, anime is my online name. I enjoy watching anime and reading manga. I'm a big fan, which is a reason why One Bit Heart caught my eye in the first place. The game has that anime Vocaloid look to it. It reminded me of the character Hatsune Miku. Another reason was the story itself. It intrigued me enough to give it a try. What can I say? I was looking for something new to play. Hey, that rhymed! Surprisingly, I did enjoy some of the songs on the soundtrack. Remember the song that played in the beginning? It's one of my favorites. I found myself humming and singing along. It's good, isn't it? It's the opening theme called Reset. You first hear it when you trigger a cutscene. I'll share a YouTube link down in the description below of all of the OST. So the game has chapters, and as you're going through the story in Clear Chapter, you are free to play mini games and interact with various characters to gain their trust by giving them gifts. I suggest waiting until chapter 4's free time. To me, it just seemed a lot easier to do, especially if you want to get all of the endings. The game has 3 different endings: bad, normal, and happy. The endings are tied to how many friends Nanashi has in total. And as you go through the story, you gain 8 friends, which is a great start. There are 48 in all. The game isn't hard to play, still you need all 48 of them if you want to get that happy ending, and to be honest, I had to refer back to a guide, and I'm glad I did. It saved me a lot of time. To get these gifts, you purchase them from Nanashi's computer. There you will also find the mini games you need to play in order to get the points for the gifts. Luckily, there is a secret way to get all of the points without having to play the mini games. Imagine trying to get just enough points to get gifts for 48 characters. I played them just to see what they were at least once, and they're not very hard at all to play, but it would have been more time consuming for sure. Don't worry, I do show how to get all the points in my videos. I like that all of the characters have their own personality, their own style, even down to their bit phones, which honestly I thought was a nice touch. As I mentioned before, you give each character gifts in order to gain their trust and add them as a friend, but unlike in Stardew Valley, you can't romance any of them. Sorry for the bad news in case you were wondering. The game also has a bit of voiceover, which was a plus for me. Now, going through the dialogue of each character, I liked reading through their dialogue and finding more about the character and at times about another character. It was somewhat fun, but finding myself having to do it 3 to 4 times, it was just very annoying. Let me explain. The biggest thing for me that I did not like was not having the option for the borderless windowed or just something to prevent the game from minimizing each time I clicked out of the game. It was so frustrating. I can't even tell you how many times I had to restart a scene or a chapter because of it, especially when I was recording. I almost gave up. Now, if there was an option for it that I totally missed somehow, or if there is a way to fix it, please let me know in the comments. I would really appreciate it. Um, Now, I'm not sure if this is spoilery, but just in case, spoiler alert. Remember when I mentioned that you need all 48 of them as a friend in order to get the happy ending? Well, Mikado won't add you until you do that, which is a good indication of letting you know if you missed anyone. You also will not be able to unlock that extra or bonus chapter. I unlocked it for 2 reasons. So I was curious to see what it was about, and I was, well, trying to get all of the achievements. I will say this, I'm glad that they did. It wasn't really necessary in my opinion, but I appreciate it that they did. I would have been wondering what happened afterwards. As I mentioned before, you can find this game on Steam. In case you didn't know, at the time of this recording, there is an autumn sale going on right now. It started from the 21st, it goes through the 28th of November. And I took a look to see if the game happens to be on sale, and sadly it's not, but for $2.99 it's not very expensive. You can always save it on your wish list to see if it does go on sale, especially now with the holidays and all the Black Friday deals and whatnot. Side note, I didn't know that the 1bitHeart was the latest title from the Alice Mare and Light Eat developer Miyoshiba. I haven't played either of the other two games, but if you played either of them or both, then you might like 1bitHeart. And a little surprise, there is a sequel for those that didn't know. It's called 1bitHeart. Unfortunately, it's not on Steam, but there is a link available that I will be sharing down in the description below for those of you that may be interested in checking it out. Before I go, I wanted to share something from the devs. Dev's voice. This was the third game I made where I first experimented with a side-scrolling system, voiceover, and detective elements. I probably spent the most time working on these 3 things, including revisions. When designing the town, I had foreign cartoons in mind and was aiming more towards a foreign audience than a Japanese one. However, the game is set in Japan of the near future and the character design is aimed more towards the Japanese aesthetic. I took advantage of the fact that the game is set in Japan to make some cultural references here and there. An adventure game where you make friends, and not a typical tagline, but if there is any aspect that takes your fancy, I hope you will play my game. With that, I leave you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me throughout my first ever YouTube series and this short review. I appreciate your patience and your views and your likes as always. Thank you. Until next time, happy gaming.